Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy here for the Daily Blob, where I say, I'm having flashbacks. I was talking to one of my relatives a couple of years ago, and I was telling the person that it was sad. It was sad that they had only seen the family when it had been a complete and utter crap show. So, as I've said, my mother was an alcoholic who was so bad she literally ended up dying in her own crap. I got the experience of mopping up my mom's crap that she died in. That's a lived experience you just can't erase from your mind. Anyways, I was talking to this family member, and I was saying it was so sad that they had only seen the downside of the insanity. Like when I had been growing up, and my mom had been in her 20s and been an alcoholic, and the rest of the family had been insane. It had been like that fun kind of insane, right? When you're young, and the adults are talking about how authority figures are pieces of crap, and they're doing all the wacky stuff. It's like, wow, this is exciting. This is fun. And then it gets to be, 30 years later and you're mopping crap off the floor, right? Anyways, I've been thinking about that with the whole social media world and the insanity that goes on in the social media world. And I wonder when we are going to hit the tipping point where this stuff just isn't going to be fun anymore. I feel like we're now at the concerning time period, right? When you're young, you're like, yay, this is cool. And then you get to a certain age, you start talking with people, and you're like, yeah. Are you sure? Are you sure you're living your life well? Maybe a little bit more lettuce, a little bit less Jim Beam. I don't know, right? And then everything goes off the cliff. I feel like we're in that middle realm with social media, where a lot of people are like, I'm not saying this is bad. I'm not saying people should stop. Oh, this is getting concerning. And I'm just kind of curious. How long we'll get to the shit mopping level of social media. And this comes from Liver King influencer arrested in Texas after threatening Joe Rogan, which is interesting. And he's now apparently out of jail with an ankle monitor, and he's still talking crap. And this is one of the things to be thinking about, like with the whole influencer world. One of the things I will remind you, as an influencer, as whatever I am, jackass in a basement, is that there's no real rules here. There's no real people to keep you in line and tell you what you need to do. Like with movie stars, right? With movie stars or normal stars, there's people that are there to keep you in line. And if you go too far out of line, they kick you the fuck out, and then you're done, right? You're not a movie star if you don't actually star in any movies. So you can be a drug addict, you can do a lot of horrible stuff, as long as publicly you stay within the lines. And if you get out of line, right, you get kicked out. The interesting thing is the influencer world, right? It's just RTMP. It's real-time media protocol, man. If you got a camera or you got a recorder and you can upload that file, you can talk to the entire world. There's no gatekeepers, there are no guardrails, the whole 9 yards. And so one of the questions is what happens when influencers go batshit insane, right? Because that's the thing. Like a lot of stars have entourages and minders and keepers and other people that make a percentage of what the movie star makes, and therefore they will do things like lock their asses into rehab if need be. With a lot of influencers, there's just not those people around you to force you to at least pretend to stay a little bit sane. So what happens when influencers start truly going batshit crazy? We might be seeing that with the Liver King. So if you don't know the Liver King, there is a wonderful documentary on Netflix you can go watch about the Liver King. And if you don't know Joe Rogan, then get the hell out from under the rock, because I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, but yeah, Liver King is now was threatening Joe Rogan. Brian Johnson, known online as the Liver King, posted a series of threatening videos on Instagram in the days before his arrest in Austin, Texas. Social media fitness influencer known as the Liver King was arrested Tuesday after he posted threatening messages directed at the popular podcaster Joe Rogan on social media, police in Texas said. Austin police said in a statement they arrested Brian Johnson after they learned he was traveling to Austin, where Joe Rogan lives, and threatening Rogan Rogan in a series of videos he posted on Instagram. Right? That's the concerning thing, right? When you watch Brad Pitt in a movie, you have no idea where Brad Pitt actually lives. Right? How would you figure out? Let's say you were infatuated with Brad Pitt or you hated Brad Pitt. The fact of, do you know where he lives? Even if you wanted to pick up a fish and smack him with it, it would be impossible to figure out where the hell Brad Pitt was in order to smack him with that fish. Again, the interesting thing to think about with influencers, though, is there's much more personal stuff on the line. There's much more personal stuff that is out there and known. So if somebody wants to come and find you, it's a hell of a lot easier for them to actually do that. Austin police said in a statement that they arrested, quote, Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out. My name's Liver King. Man to man, I'm picking a fight with you. Johnson said in a video he posted Monday, quote, I have no training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You should dismantle me, but I'm picking a fight with you. Your rules. I'll come to you whenever you're ready. And that's one of the concerning things too. Like you hear about this, right? This sounds good. This sounds good to the 14-year-olds out there, right? Joe Rogan trains 4 hours a day, right? Liver King doesn't know jiu-jitsu. What's Joe Rogan worried about? Liver King's gonna come, Joe Rogan's gonna dismantle him, and then bam, they're gonna be men. They're gonna be dogs. Here's the thing about like actually fighting. Oh, you can just get hurt in the stupidest ways. Oh, you can just zig when he should have zagged. Or you can just be 50. You know Joe Rogan is in his 50s now? Have you seen the Liver King? Have you seen the Liver King? He is a beast. He is a beast. There is one thing. You're Joe Rogan, and you're walking down the street at night, and a thug comes out. And it's Joe Rogan versus the thug. Only one gets to walk away. Right? So if the thug gets a decent hit in or whatever else, and Joe Rogan has to go to the hospital, look, Joe Rogan was defending himself. He beat the shit out of that thug. Boom. He's the man. Here's the thing. When you think you have jackasses that can just throw down, basically throw down the gauntlet and say, fight me, that's the thing. You know, it takes a while to heal. That's one of the reasons I stopped doing martial arts. I stopped doing martial arts a number of years ago because I looked at my mentors at the time, and they were getting around 60, and all of them were going in for many surgeries. Rotator cuff surgeries, and this surgery, and that surgery, and other surgery. And what I've realized, so I did martial arts, I don't know, 20, 25 years? Something on the line of 25 years. And here's the thing. When I was 15 years old, man, I could take a hit. And barely even feel it. Like you take that, you get low, you get dropped to the ground. You walk around the mat a couple of times, you're good. Let's do that again. Right? You get a little bit older, you're like 20, 22. Oh, you get clocked. You're like, oh, that was a good one. Okay, let's call it a day. We'll come back to the mat tomorrow. I'll beat you down on the mat. He was about 30. It's like, you take a hit. Oh, you know, you're limping for a week. You're limping for a week. You still heal. And then you get to a certain point. Like my elbow injury, it's still not perfect, but I don't know. It took about like three years to heal. You just get to that point in time where this shit takes a long time to heal. So you hear about Liver King coming in going, yeah, Joe Rogan is the MMA guy. He should be able to take me apart. Here's the thing. Maybe Joe Rogan will. Or maybe Joe Rogan will lose. Let's be honest. Losing is always an option. Losing is always an option. But he may win. But at the same time, even if he wins, he could get hurt really badly. It's just not... It's not necessarily a good situation. It only sounds good. It only sounds good if you're playing up to the 14-year-olds out there. In another video he posted that day, he similarly challenged Rogan to fight man to man. Quote, you never come across something like this, willing to die. Fuck me. You don't want to fight somebody who's willing to die. Again, it's like, okay, let's put on the gloves. Let's put on the gloves. Let's get on the mat. Oh, do a little tippy tappy. Okay, there you go. You have a motherfucker saying who's willing to die. Oh, God. Because one of the things you have to understand, too, with fighting, like when you start talking about pressure points and holds and all that kind of stuff, it's that whole thing of the other side has to be willing to lose. Like, what happens if you get somebody into a lock and then they just don't stop? Again, it's an interesting thing with the whole MMA world. Like MMA, I find very interesting from a psychological standpoint because you notice how much they assume the other side is going to do something. So the idea of like putting somebody into an elbow lock, right? Okay, so I'm going to put you into an elbow lock and then you're going to tap out and you're going to say, I'm the big dog. Here's one of the questions. What if you get them into an elbow lock and they don't tap? Seriously. So a lot of these locks, a lot of things that the MMA folks do, they wrap themselves up. Like it's not, again, I did Kempo. My last martial art was Kempo. You don't fucking wrap yourself up in Kempo. Last thing you want to do is wrap yourself up with some other jackass. Anyways, right? The interesting thing is, the MMA stuff, you're locking, you were there, right? So, you got their elbow, you got leg, you're doing this whole thing. Well, here's the question. You're like this, and you're like, tap out, tap out. And they're like, fuck you. And they're like, what? Fuck. Now what do I do? Because here's the thing. Here's what the men don't tell you, because it sounds good for the 14-year-olds. They don't tell you about the psychological damage. If you pull that arm and you just shatter that elbow, you're not gonna walk that shit off. Right? That's the thing. The man, yeah. They're not going to walk it off. Motherfucker, unless you're psychotic, you're not going to walk it off. Doing real and permanent damage to another human being, very curiously, actually does psychological damage to yourself, right? And so that's one of the issues you get into. You generally don't want to fight. It's that whole thing, when you kill somebody, 2 people die that day, the person you killed and who you used to be. That's real. Right. Anyways, and so if you have this guy Liver King, who's a fucking beast. I mean, let me just show you a picture. If you've not seen the Liver King is just like, I don't care who you are. I do not care. Like, let me just increase the size there. I mean, dude, that's the Liver King. That's the Liver King. Yeah, I get that he hasn't trained in BJJ or Taekwondo or anything. Fuck me. That is what we call, my friends, a bad day. That is what we call a bad day. So you imagine this. Showing up on your doorstep saying he doesn't care if he dies. That is what we call a very, very bad day. And so that's why somebody like Joe Rogan would probably not be very interested in this horse crap. Let's see here. Quote, you never come across something like this. Willing to die, hoping that you'll choke me out because that's a dream come true, Johnson said. Police said that they contacted Rogan on Tuesday and that he told them he had never previously interacted with Johnson and considered the post to be threatening. Fair enough. Later that day, Johnson was apprehended by at the Four Seasons Hotel and charged with terroristic threat, a Class B misdemeanor, police said. And so past that, he has now been let out. He now has an ankle bracelet on him, GPS tracker, and he is still saying shit about Joe Rogan. So I will be curious to see just how far this particular stupidity goes. It is interesting, like... just the psychology of the social media world, and that's why I'm talking about this. It's not just for the clickbait, but it's the psychology of the social media world. Like the whole issue of parasocial relationships, right? Where many of you have watched way too much of me, right? So I come here, I do these videos, whatever. I throw them out to the universe, I get my money, I go about my day. The interesting thing is a lot of people out there, they watch a lot of my content, and then they feel like they know me, right? One of the reasons that the Indians are so sad and mad at me is because many Indians out there found me in my orange sweatshirt in front of a whiteboard days back when I was teaching people TCP/IP and protocols and that type of stuff. And they saw me as this happy, smiley bastion of the good things in the world, right? And they became friends with that Eli the computer guy. To be clear, they fucking didn't. Because in order to be friends, I'd have to know who the fuck they are. And I don't know who the fuck they are. Ergo, we're not fucking friends. But in their brains, they think we're friends. And so then I started doing daily blog videos and that type of thing, where I talk about the real world technology, and I talk about my actual frustrations, and I swear, and I'm not so happy all the time, horseshit, 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 and then they cry, because their friend is letting them down. You're not who I thought you were. It's like, what the fuck are you talking? Dude, I just create videos. I get money from YouTube. Hopefully the content I do has enough value that folks will sit down and do interviews with me. That's about the long and short of it, right? But there are a lot of people out there, right? They feel like they have this relationship. And it's one of the things influencers have talked about for many years now, is this whole parasocial relationship. But, everything's got to go farther. Bigger, badder, farther, stupider in the technology world. Now think about parasocial relationships like on top of parasocial relationships. So what happens now when you have influencers that have parasocial relationships with other influencers, and then are communicating to the people that have a parasocial relationship with them in order to get views and interactions and that type of thing? What happens when influencers start having parasocial relationships with each other and then start taking actions in order to drive interactions to their content? Oh, God. I do feel like things are going to get worse. Just when you're like, you know what? I don't think things are going to get any worse. Then you think about influencers having parasocial relationships with each other. And then you're like, oh, this can get so much worse. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this kind of thing works out at the end of the day. What'll happen with Liver King and Joe Rogan? And not really the whole Liver King and Joe Rogan thing. This is going to be its own insanity. But more that idea, like going in the future. Like, so many people want to be influencers, right? I have been doing this for so long. I remember when we didn't even know what the hell to call ourselves, right? I remember before we were called creators. It's like, what do you do? I don't know, I talk in front of a camera. I upload crap to YouTube. I was an upload crap to YouTuber back in the day. And then we became creators, and then we became influencers. But the interesting thing is, right, so when I started in 2009, like, nobody even knew what the hell I was doing, right? I could not say, like YouTube, because nobody even knew what the hell YouTube was. So it's very fascinating for me. Like, I became an influencer just by actually, I don't know, providing valuable information. Well, what's curious nowadays is that there's people that actually want to be influencers. Like, even when I blog, there's a lot of stuff that I did in the past before Everyman IT and all that kind of stuff. But it was all about providing value. Like, how can I provide value in a way that allows me to travel and do the things that I want? So when I was backpacking around the world, I did a blog. And it was like, oh, can I monetize doing a blog? Right? There's other things that I did. But it was, hey, what hostels do you stay at? How do you get a train in India? Those kind of things, right? It was providing value. I provide value, which may at the end of the day influence your decisions, but the idea is I provide value. That's why you come to the content, right? Anyways, so we had this whole time period where you had people that provided value, had an expertise, provided value, and then that happened to influence folks. Now we have this world of people that just want to be influencers. Why do they want to be? Who the hell knows? What do they influence? Right? They just want to be important. Again, there's this whole social media world. They want to be important. They want people to listen to them. We have a whole world of people who want to talk, and nobody wants to listen. But they feel that they should be the ones that talk. Why should anybody listen to them? Who the hell knows? So you have all this. We just went to a South Beach. It's fascinating. You go down to South Beach. Everybody, like my wife was looking at going to a gym because we were there for a month. She was looking at going, like just going to a gym for a couple of days or whatever. And she would literally find she found these gyms where every piece of fitness equipment had a ring light attached to it. So that you could do your influencer videos at the gym. It was the influencers, gyms for influencers, right? You would go to the beach or you go to the park or whatever, and there'd be like 20 people all like giving duck lips or whatever to the camera. Very weird. Very weird. As somebody who makes money off of this medium, I was like, wow, this is wow. This stuff has gotten weird. So what happens like for the next generation of influencers? So you have the people that have been brought up with the idea that influencer is a thing, and then so within their world where they're trying to influence people, they're then influenced by other people. So just like people have a parasocial relationship with them, they then have a parasocial relationship with other people. And so then the parasocial relationship the people have with the first influencer, they can then have this, where is this gonna go? To hell. The answer is to hell. So anyways, something to ponder, something to think about. What do you think about this? What do you think about Liver King trying to fight Joe Rogan mano a mano? What do you think about a 50-some-odd-year-old Joe Rogan who apparently exercises 4 hours a day? Apparently he exercises 4 hours a day. I would not want to fight Joe Rogan. Let me just say, if Joe Rogan was calling me out, if Joe Rogan was like, Eli the computer guy, I'm coming to Asheville, we're going to do this man on man, I wouldn't want to do that shit. But on the other hand, he is like 50 some odd years old. He has other crap he wants to do in life. And Liver King is a fucking brick. I remember one time I was sparring this guy who was a carpenter. He was a no belt. So anyways, right? You get there, I was whatever belt level I was. And, you always get on the mat. So sometimes they pair the higher belt levels with the no belts or the low belt levels, and you get there. So it gives you more practice. I'm basically a moving dummy. Hey, you have a dummy that moves, right? It gives you a little practice, and it also gives them some training so they can understand. Oh, this is how this shit works. Anyways, I remember this guy, man, and so we would be sparring, and I'd be like, bah, 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 kick, bah. Right? Anyway, motherfucker, he could not block. Couldn't block, save his life. Man, his punches, you could see them from a mile away. He would wind up for a punch. Man, you could go have a cup of coffee. You could have a cup of coffee. You could have a scone. You could talk to a friend, go to the toilet, come back before the punch hits you. Anyways, here's the thing. He did not hit me very often. But he was a carpenter. He had been a carpenter for 20 years of his life. All he does is swing a hammer all day long. Jesus Christ. He would clock your ass. 1, he was a carpenter. 2, he was a Nobel, so he did not understand the concept of control. Fuck me. When he hit you, it was just bad. Fuck me, it was bad. Anyways, so think about what that was, Liver King. Joe Rogan, Liver King's like, Aah! Rogan may win. Rogan may win at the end of the day. But it's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad day. So what do you think about all of this? What do you think, too, about this whole manosphere, this dog horse shit I keep talking about? All these like 40, 50-year-olds wanting to impress the teenagers out there and do this stuff. Again, the things that seem cool to 14-year-olds, it does seem cool when you get older. Oh, there's nothing quite like going to the doctor for a pinched nerve. And then she's like, yeah, okay, well, have you had any head injuries? Have you had any neck injuries? I'm like, Yeah, probably a few. And you're just saying that. I heard, like when I had my pinched nerve. I had my pinched nerve. Got 40 years old. Don't turn 40. Anyways, pinched nerves suck. Pinched nerve, and to understand like how all this is for all the kids out there that still have fully functioning bodies. Like so when a nerve gets pinched, you don't actually have damage. It just your body thinks there's damage. You don't understand. There were times I'd be on my knees because right here between these two joints on my pinky was in complete and utter fucking agony. You just be saying like, "Hey, dear, blah blah blah." It's like, what's wrong? It's like, it hurts right there. My God, it hurts so fucking much right there. It's rolling on the floor with your pinky. Oh, it would just like pinch nerves. Like the pinky would hurt, and then like here would hurt, and then here would hurt. Like just fucking agony. Anybody that's watched me for years, again 40, so 9 years. Shit. 9 years ago, if you've been following me for that long, you'll remember when I got my pinched nerve. Fucking agony. Jesus Christ, that sucks. So that's the thing. Man. 50-year-old man against 50-year-old man. Yeah, I will say no to any more pinched nerves. Look, if China storms the coast of the U.S., I'll take my ballpoint pen and I'll go out and fucking defend this country. Otherwise, fuck that shit. Anyways, that was a bit of a monologue there. Bit of a diatribe. But that's what you get when you listen to Eli the Computer Guy. So anywho, what do you think about this? What do you think about all this mess? Put your thoughts down below. Remember, as far as YouTube is concerned, interactions are all that are important. See y'all later.